Hello and welcome back to this special edition of NewsMax Now. We're about to step aside, but we're going to get to some of your calls coming up here in just a little bit. Stay tuned. We'll have more on that coming up. But we do want to part ways with something we're calling headlines and punchlines, pairing today's some of today's top stories with some jokes from late night comedians. And Super Bowl week is officially underway, but unfortunately, Deflategate has cast quite a shadow on the big game, and now the spotlight remains on the mystery surrounding those underinflated balls. But Saturday Night Live tackled the Benghazi and New England's press conference, or Ballghazi, I should say, and New England's press conference in this skit.
Hey, Tom, did you have anything to do with deflating these footballs?
Me? Absolutely not. Honestly, I wasn't even aware that footballs could be inflated or deflated.
You weren't aware of that?
Look, all I know is that a football is a pigskin, so I just assumed that the air in the football is how much air was inside the pig when it died.
All right, we know Tom Brady's smarter than that. That's SNL mocking Brady's claim that he never mishandled those balls during last week's AFC Championship game. Well, Deflategate isn't all bad news for every New England Patriot. Remember this guy? SNL's Tom Brady does.
Remember how my former teammate Aaron Hernandez allegedly murdered 3 people? I mean, that seems like a huge story, right?
Maybe a little bit more important than deflated footballs. Opening remarks, by the way, in the Aaron Hernandez murder trial were set to begin this week, but that's also in Boston, so we'll see if there's another delay from weather. Now, moving on, New Jersey Governor Christie is making news with launching his own PAC. We announced that today. Some say this is the beginning of a Christie presidential run, but Jimmy Fallon explains that New Jersey voters aren't too confident of that.
And finally, according to a new poll, more than half of New Jersey does not think their governor, Chris Christie, should be president. While the other half of New Jersey is Chris Christie.
Oh, those Chris Christie jokes never get old, do they? Well, former First Lady and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is also eyeing a possible 2016 run for the White House. Some think she's already sending out messages to other Democrats, including Vice President Joe Biden.
Reported that shots were fired from a car speeding past Vice President Joe Biden's Delaware home. So far, police have only one suspect.
Yeah, Joe Biden shooting out Biden 2016 there. We'll see what happens. Now, guys, also, let's take one more last look, if we can, before it gets too dark up there in New York with those live cams we have. We can take another look at the weather. Looks like the picture right there might be frozen up, as well as New York itself. You can see there is obviously, based on this shot, a little frozen right there on the screen, but you can see a lot more snow in the air than when we've checked in on these images in the last little bit. Let's see if we can move on to the Columbus Circle live shot that we had pulled up, just in case. We don't have that. But anyway, maybe these are being affected by the weather here. Still a lot of issues in the Northeast right now with that weather. A couple other things to note for you. We've discussed here on the program the case of Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell. Of course, we all know that he was convicted on those corruption charges. A new update coming in this afternoon. He's going to be allowed to remain free on bail while his sentence is decided. Also, an announcement coming from the Congressional Budget Office today that the deficit will shrink to its lowest level in quite some time, perhaps since President Obama took office. That's correct. The deficit will be at just $468 billion for the next budget year. That's slightly less than last year, and it's slightly below the historical average of the last 50 years. But to a lot of folks out there, still not a good sign that our yearly budget deficit is $483 billion. That's a lot of money. Now, be sure, guys, we want you to stick around. We got another hour of programming, special programming coming up for you, coming in at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. You are invited to call in and join our conversation here. We also have a live shot back up now. This is Times Square. You can see the famous tickets, the staircase right there, some of the other ads in the background. I bet there are a lot of tourists who are going to get stuck in New York and are going to enjoy the snow, but a lot of folks who have to live and work there, not so much. You see the snowblower out there on the street, a few hardy souls. But officials are warning everybody, if you don't have to be out on the streets driving especially, don't do it. If there's any way you can stay inside, make sure you stay inside. But again, coming up here on NewsMax TV, please do stick around. We have a very special hour of additional coverage coming up for you following this special coverage, or NewsMax Now, the special edition that we had for you up here on the show. We're going to give you a chance. You can come in, you can communicate, you can call us, Skype in. We'll have much more coming up on that. For the time being, we're going to take a quick, short commercial break. We'll be right back with a live interview with Steve Malzberg, who's in the snow, coming from New York.